Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Gaming with Jim Bob Fred. Today, this particular video that we're working on is going to be about crafting gear and placing gear and how you can use it to improve your gameplay. In this particular game, it's called West Game. So for those of you out there that are West Game players, I'm going to walk you through it. And as always, if you ever see me put something out and it's just totally wrong, man, leave a comment. Let me know what it is, or if there's a better way of doing it. The whole point of this entire channel is to improve gameplay for everyone. I don't know everything. I've never claimed to know everything, but I do kind of get some of the details, and I do that. I get that by talking with my buddies and my friends in the game. So, first of all, what is gear and what is it used for? So, if you come to your gaming icon here, this is the area where you'll put your gear. You guys can see this is a relatively new account that I have on here. I started this one specifically to start doing some of these videos. Every piece of gear has some component that could be useful for you. And you have to decide in advance how you want the makeup and the look of your particular sheriff to be in this game. And the developers have actually done something really cool in this game that allow us to drill down to specifically what we want. So you make gear in your blacksmith building, and you do it in the forge, right? So inside the forge, you have all these options. You can combine crystals in here. So when you have some crystals, combining them super simple. I don't mess with combining them too early, but the reality is if you want to combine them to see how high you can get, you need basically 4 of any one crystal to combine it to the next level. So I could just combine these 4 right here, and then I would get a green crystal out of it. So that's what combining is. You could also decompose them. Like I just put 4 together to get a green one, but if I need this one here, I can just decompose 1 and I get back the 4 that I had there before. So that's how you do the crystals, right? And crystals play a big role in improving your gear and your overall buffs, right? But let's just say you don't really know anything about combining gear, but you do know that you are going to be focusing on, let's say you're focusing on establishing your account with cavalry, right? Once you're in here, you can click all and it'll take you through everything in here, and it just doesn't, it's not really useful there. So one of my first tips that I always do is I want to know what gear in here can I take all the way to gold? And you do that over here under quality. It starts off, this is the lowest quality here. If you click on it, you'll see in this particular case, this hickory cane at this gray level, it gives you a 1.1% buff for infantry and a 2.2 for cav and research speed of 1.5. But what if I were to take this hickory cane all the way to gold? That's what I look at first. So I just click on gold from the get-go, and I see that if I'm doing cavalry, this ends up with a 22% buff for cav going on, as well as a 15% research and trap attack of 11. So this is not a bad piece of gear. I obviously can't make it right this second. I have insufficient material. But let's just say this is the one I wanted to do, and I wanted to know how high I could take it for the material that I currently have, right? So all I do is I just start clicking down the quality button here, and I'm still going to be looking for the hickory cane. This is going to change colors as soon as I get to the level that I can make it. So I can't even do blue. Can't do green. Boy, this is pretty pathetic. Oh, you can see down here the studded cowboy belt, though it turned blue. So I could do this one if I wanted to take it up. And I might want to look at that one here again in a second. Let's just do that now. If I come down here, what does it give me for... I was saying cav, so this is really nothing good for cav. As a matter of fact, that makes it a little bit confusing if I got to go through all that stuff. So the very first thing that I would do before crafting any gear is I'm going to see what it will go to gold, and then I'm going to use the filter button down here. And inside the filter button, I'm just going to scroll down to cav only, because that's all. I just want to look at the gear that's going to improve my cavalry buffs. So as soon as I click OK on this, everything changes. Right? It's only going to show stuff, any piece of gear that has cavalry in it somewhere. So this hickory cane does give me a 22% buff at the gold level. This Smith carbine will give me a 21.6, but it also gives me a good trap attack. So it gives you the ability to identify up front kind of where you want your equipment to go. And you don't waste time building stuff or crafting stuff that you're not going to need later on. So I'm still going to go with the hickory cane here. We've already determined that I could not do it at green, but I could do it at silver. Now, if I've never crafted this particular one before, right, I can just click on here for forge, and it's going to say, hey, man, you're not ready. You're missing something. And what I'm missing is this hickory cane at the first level. So if I go back, I would have to either come back here and start forge it here first, or if I'm on this level, which makes it a little bit easier, I just click forge. By clicking this, it's going to move me back one. I can now forge this piece of gear. As soon as it's done forging, right? And for the purposes of this video, I'll go ahead and I'm just going to, I'll hit forge here. I'll ask for some help. I always ask for help because when your alliance mates, your buddies, the people in your guild, alliance, whatever you guys call them, they call them alliances in this game. After they give you a couple helps, it's going to decrease that time. And I'm not sure what it is on this particular account. It's going to go by. There, thanks, buddy. That was pretty cool. Mr. Tang, you rock. Thank you. You can see that's decreasing the time. Each time someone does it, it's going to decrease it by a minute or so. This count has a whole bunch of speed up, so I'm just going to go ahead and speed it up to the, available in 1 minute. Heck, I'm just going to wait the 1 minute, and then I'll be able to do it for free. Ain't no sense in getting crazy about it. Well, there we go. Last help gets it for free. Now I can upgrade it. And now I have this piece of gear. It's not helping me right now because I don't have it equipped, but I have the piece of gear. But it also, now I have it done at level 1, I can take it straight to level 2. And this is something that most people don't realize, and I want everyone to see this. Now, when I'm back at this screen, and if I was coming in for the first time to the forge, there's a little red dot right here. That little red dot means that you have a piece of gear that you have enough material on hand to take to the next level. So if you've already decided this is the piece of gear that you want to build, man, just click on it. You go to your equipment and inlay area, and it's going to highlight it here with a red dot too. Sometimes you'll see a whole bunch of stuff in here that has red dots, and just click on it, and it gives you an opportunity to enhance it. Now, I'm not going to enhance it because I'm not actually working on CAV for this account. So for those of you that are in this particular state looking to kill Jim Bob Fred, I'm not a CAV account, all right? I'm a range account, so build CAV. Whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But that's how you select the gear that you want to use and how you forge it. But once you have gear, and I showed you crystals just a second ago. So I'm going to go back to that screen. Crystals, combine crystals and crystals and combine. You know, each one of these crystals gives you specific boosts to the gear that you craft. Now, what some people do is they'll wait until they get all the way up to gold in these things, and you'll see at this lowest level, level 1, that crystal gives me a 2% increase on anything that I put it in for Troop Life overall. If I click on here, it's going to go to 5. So if I put in a level 2 crystal, I'm going to get a 5% boost for that crystal in this particular piece of gear. If I put a level 3 one in there, it'll go up 8. You can see it'll go all the way up to 26 if you can get them to gold. So a lot of people wait. But if what I do, it's a little bit different. I guess some folks do the same thing I do. It's not that big of a deal, but a lot of people don't think about it. When you look at what kind of gear you can put in for your sheriff, I can put 6 pieces of gear in here right now, right? So if I put 6 level 1 crystals, 1 in each one of these pieces of gear, that gives me a 12% boost altogether, right? Because if we look at the crystals, we'll go back to the crystals real quick. If a troop life crystal is important to me, and I can put 1 level 1 life crystal into 6 different pieces of gear, 6 times 2 is a 12% boost, right? So I could get a 12% boost on that overall by just doing a whole bunch of level 1s, as opposed to combining all these and getting up here, and now I have a level 2 that I could put somewhere that's an 8, or 2 level 2s that would give me a 16. But I'm only putting those in 2 pieces of gear, so it's a balancing game that you guys got to play out there. However you want to do it, it's not that big of a deal. A lot of folks would rather do a whole bunch of level 2s or level 1s as opposed to trying to do 1 piece of gear that gives me 8. Or I guess in this case, I could do 2 pieces of gear would give me 16. Actually, would be a little bit better than the 12 at this level. But I think y'all get my point, right? I'm hoping that y'all are doing that anyways. And if you decide to do it that way, a lot of people want to wait because they feel as though it's gone. But there is a tool that you can use that's a crystal saver. When you come down to My Items, you can buy them and you get them in some of the events. Let's see if we can find that. I know I've seen it before. Just don't remember what it is because I've not had to worry about pulling any crystals out yet. If you guys can remember, if any of y'all out there watching this, you can remember where you can find this. If I don't find it here real quick. Common Crystal Saver, there it is. It allows you to save a crystal between level 1 and level 3 when removing crystals. They cost 400 gold. Not a big deal for players that are in a guild where you're getting a lot of free stuff. Like everything, I keep saying this all the time, West Game developers have done a really good job of making sure that if you do the events, you get a lot of free stuff, right? So you can always pull those out. You might have to have an excellent crystal saver, but you can pull them out, save your crystals, recombine them later on, and then use the higher level stuff. It's all pretty good when it comes to that. They make it super simple for those of us in the gaming world. In this particular game, West Game, they make it pretty easy for all of us to do it. I don't like all that stuff being up all the time, but as you can see, that's it. That's the tutorial I'm giving today for crafting gear and adding crystals and why it's important. Super easy to do. Most people don't understand it, so they don't bother with it for a long time until they realize, good gravy, I've spent all this time playing the game and didn't know how to do that. But I'll tell you, it's super important when you want to get your buffs up on however you're building your sheriff to give you the best percentages in your boost for whether it be for attacking, and we'll go back to that real quick and just go through all the categories just so you can see it again. All equipment, we're just going to go through the filter, right? So you can do for gathering, or you can do everything. You can select all and it'll give you everything again, which I wouldn't imagine that's what you're doing before you do it. But if you want to improve your gathering, you can have different sets of gear, right? You can have offensive sets. You can have gear that shows that'll help you with research and construction. And honestly, if you're looking to do that, I'm glad I didn't get out of this, because there's something else you can do with your sheriff to ensure that you have good research stuff, and that's always in your skills, right? So you can come through your skills here, and if you pay attention to research and construction. Now, those of you that have been playing a while, don't look at this one set that I have that has troop training and troop attack up here. I know I wouldn't do that if I normally was just doing my skill sets for research only. But if you look down this tree as you're developing it, you'll see there's a research tree here, a research button, a construction button, and as you go down through here, there's going to be a couple more that you see, right? And you got to have like 5 in each one of these to get to the next level. Where is that other research one? There's construction, construction speed 2 and research speed 2. You can save a setting in here later on that you just set these up specifically to give you the buffs for construction and research. You'll have a whole bunch of points left over later on, so you might want to improve some gathering on that. If you have your research and construction gear on, you're not generally out fighting anyway. So increase your econ stuff in here, going all the way down to silver production 3, which you can take all the way 50. And all you have to do is hit reset skills in here in order to do it. It costs a little bit of gold, or it costs a little bit of time, but super simple to do. Once you get different presets, and throughout the game you'll get 4 different presets. You can set this. You can set one up. You can even change the name of it a little bit, where you pick the gear that you want for this particular preset. All right. So these are the hats these are the different helmets or hats that I have that I can choose from. It always gives you the bonus, or what the bonuses are right here. Both of these are kind of for attack, for range, and that kind of stuff, right? You select the one you want, put wear on it, and you can ideally go through each one of the commodities here, right? So if I'm looking for research, that's construction speed, no big deal. That's an attack kind of buff one. That's a attack kind of buff one. So if I'm doing in construction and research, then I would put this one on for this particular preset. and you go on to the next one. This is another thing, folks. Don't ever build these pieces of gear that are only reductions in time. As you go through this game, it's going to start taking more and more time, not just hours or days, but weeks or months when you're getting closer to T4. And taking 12 minutes off research time for taking something to 10 is just silly. Don't waste your time or your resources on anything that is a decrease in time. Always go for a percentage. 2% of 156 days is a lot more than 12 minutes, right? So even though it's only 2%, it would make a bigger difference. But you can see I don't have a lot of gear to choose from through here. So this is construction and research, so I'll put that one on there. The gun, what do we got? That's got a research one. What else we got? Anything good? There's construction time. There's research. Again, these were just beginning type things I did for this account to show people. Right, and then that's 4.8. We'll add that one too. So then now I would have a sheriff preset, and anytime you see these little leaves on the screen that you're in, if you click it, you're able to change the name, and I could just change this overall one here to research. If I change it, it's going to show up as research. Now I could go through my presets. My preset screen now, I have 213 points, and I could focus it and do it just for research, right? But I'm not using presets on this guy right now, so I'll just back out of that. But you have Fortis. You can do a research one, you can do an attack one, or you can do a cav one, or you can do a well-rounded preset, and all those things. Once you start developing your character and your sheriff, and you get moving through this thing, you're going to be able to do a lot of different things. So once again, appreciate y'all watching. I don't like to keep these things too long, but if you do like it, please share it with some friends. Tell folks how to get to the channel, and leave a comment. If there's something you want to know, or if there's something you want to tell me that I messed up, or a better way of doing something, just leave a comment, man. Like, share, and subscribe if you want to come back. Hit the notification bell, and anytime I upload a new video, you'll get that notification. You come and see what Jim Bob Fred is doing next. Totally silly. It's all about having fun. I'm going to say this about any of these games, folks. If you're playing them, it's a game. Don't get upset and all bent out of shape over a game. If you're not having fun, stop playing whatever it is you're playing. This is a way to enjoy your discretionary time, not to spend a whole bunch of time and get all worked up. Try to remember it's a gaming environment. You never know who's on the other side of the key. It could be an adult. It could be a child. It could be anyone. And we all have our own things going on. God bless everybody. Enjoy the game, and we'll see you soon.